Hey there, folks. Welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies. We're just going to get right on into it. We've got 9 movies to look at today. That's the most I've ever looked at on the show to date so far. And, for 9 movies, you would think that at least maybe a couple of them would be memorable. And there are a couple of memorable ones here. Most of them, not so much, though. But let's go ahead and get on into it. We're on the weekend of November 10th, 1989. And we're going to start with the highest grossing of the newest releases, which again is an over-exaggeration because it's only made $2 million. So that's not saying a whole lot. It's Staying Together.
Okay, we're open.
The McDermott Brothers.
We're giants. Legends in our own mind.
A rebel.
You don't touch my brother.
Harassing innocent people? I am shocked.
A rowdy.
What are you doing?
A Romeo.
I'll show you mine, you show me yours.
Life sure has thrown them a lot of curves.
I'm only 17. The sexual demands of this job are too much. Please.
Chickens. They're rats with a good reputation. I hate them.
But now is the time for 3 boys to become men.
I sold the business.
Just like that?
Yeah, just like that.
Well, what about us?
I think you took that well.
To take chances.
Live in your own world, Dad. I don't have time to waste.
To make choices.
I'm gonna be a bum. Sleep in doorways, buy half pints, drink from a paper bag. Don't worry, Dad. I'll make you proud. Why don't you grow up? Stop it, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Worst food I'll ever make you. So eat it!
And to face the world.
Dad!
The only way they know how.
He's dead. What should we do? Take away. No!
Together.
The modern woman always has her lovers at her wedding.
Can we talk about this later, maybe? Ward, I'm a little worried about the beaver.
You know, I've been thinking about that problem of yours. Well, I've decided to help you with it.
I'm gonna be a man.
Can I borrow your wife for a moment?
Take
Thank you, I already did.
This is Lee Grant's tough and tender comedy.
Very emotional family.
Staying Together.
So Lee Grant directed this movie, and she also did a couple of documentaries in between her first scripted film, which was Tell Me a Riddle. Those documentaries are When Women Kill, What Sex Am I, Nobody's Child, Down and Out of America, Battered. This was only her second directorial outing in terms of a feature film. I haven't seen this movie before, but judging by the trailer for this, it features a lot of those things that we've seen done to death over and over again in other movies. Like it's like trying to be like this coming of age melodramatic comedy is the best way I could describe it from this trailer. It's got a great cast to it. I mean, Sean Astin, Stockard Channing, Melinda Dillon from A Christmas Story, Dermot Mulroney, Daphne Zuniga, Sheila Kelly from L.A. Law, Tim Quill. And it looks like it's got some decent reviews on here, so maybe it's actually alright. Maybe it's one of those movies that kind of got lost under the radar. Most people don't really talk about it, but it's actually kind of an underrated gem. I can't really say it for sure because I haven't seen it, but the trailer doesn't really do anything for me, but who knows, I might actually give it a shot down the line at some point. So if you've seen it before, let me know in the comments below. That's my initial thoughts on Staying Together. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and the next movie is Best of the Best.
It's not a team if you don't give a damn about one another.
Going number 1 or number 2?
Trust Dad.
Miles, I gotta go.
What does it take to turn 5 uncontrollable characters into one unbeatable team?
Even with my help, it will be difficult, if not nearly impossible, to defeat a team from Korea.
I'm afraid. You need this fight bad. You need this fight for you.
I'm here to teach you how to win. Winning isn't a sometime thing. Winning is an all-time thing.
This is the only thing I know I am good at. Don't take that away from me.
team and never be better than good. But when the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Yep, another movie that looks way too similar to The Karate Kid. We've already seen, what, like 5 of these already this year? Kickboxer, and then we had the other one, some of the other ones I can't remember off the top of my head, but you know, this has another one that has a decent cast to it. Eric Roberts, James Earl Jones, Sally Kirkland, Louise Fletcher, but yeah, this is one that doesn't really look all that interesting to me. I haven't seen this one before, but evidently it did well enough to spawn not 1, not 2, but 3 other sequels to this series, so somebody must have watched it, even though this movie didn't really make a ton of money at the box office. It only made, like, I'm looking right here, $1.7 million on a $5 million budget, so I don't know why they thought people would go to see a second one, a third one, or a fourth one. But, who knows? I mean, yeah, there was just nothing in this trailer that really made me say, wow, this actually looks something different than what we used to see. But no, it just looks like another Karate Kid meets Kickboxer, Bloodsport, No Holds Barred, those type of movies. It's pretty much an underdog story, but you can definitely see a lot of the same things that we've seen in these other movies done over and over again. So I don't know. It's another one that doesn't really seem all that interesting to me. Most of these movies that came out this weekend really were not interesting. Case in point, with our next movie, Christopher Walken in Communion.
There's a group that meets. Group? People who've seen the same sort of things you have.
Which group of aliens abducted you?
Bob, we are not victims. We are participants.
I don't recall them being human.
I got to go, my baby screaming!
Yeah, based on a true story. Okay, whatever you say, pal. I mean, the trailer looked atmospheric, but man, this movie was. This movie really feels like a melodramatic movie. Like everybody's overacting, everybody is too serious. There's too many ridiculously stupid-looking scenes that are supposed to be serious and dramatic, and you know, Christopher Walken is trying his best here, but I don't know, man. I mean, Christopher Walken deserves much better than this. I mean, hell, everybody in this movie does. Lindsay Krause, Francis Sternhagen, and like I said, based on a true story, really, whenever I hear that, this is the type of movie that I think to myself, okay, yeah, that's really based on a true story. It's just like, it's based on a book, though, but yeah, I don't know about this one. Communion was pretty rough. I mean, everyone's trying their best here, but they're just going way too over the top. It's too melodramatic. Christopher Walken's doing his best, but yeah, it's a mess. It's a real mess. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is Crack House.
These streets, staying alive can be murder.
You're gonna be all right, man. You're gonna be all right.
All he wanted was a better life.
Are you asking me to marry you?
You know I quit the fraud shows for us.
But for friendship
You come back to help us guard the barrio, mano.
and pride.
I'm telling you, homeboy, I'm gonna smoke you and your whole set. Chief Morales, I thought you smartened up.
Those Grays killed my cousin.
He lost his freedom.
Tell me what you know! Has anybody touched her?
And lost his girl to the man who rules the streets.
Don't you do nothing I don't tell you to do.
He's got my girl in his house. I think I can help you bust him.
Maybe we can cut a deal.
Now he's getting even.
She means that much to you.
Yes, she does.
Think you and I are gonna get along real well. Hit him and hit him hard.
Crack house.
Pretty familiar weekend of movies, right? I mean, how many other movies have we seen that are just like this one? I mean, good lord, man, this was a rough weekend, and this one's not even trying to hide the fact that this has been done to death over and over again. Yeah, you can convince me that you can bring in Jim Brown and Richard Roundtree if you want to, but you got to have something else than this, man. I mean, this is just, they won't even try with this one. This is Canon Films. Canon Films, of course, they had like 3 different movies come out this weekend. We've already looked at 2 of them, and then we got another one coming up, but Canon Films, at least, you got to try better than this, man. I mean, no wonder this company did not last too long after this movie came out. Well, actually, I'm lying, because it lasted 5 more years after this movie came out, but at least with the other movies that Canon put out in the 80s, they were at least kind of fun to watch, but this is just like, we've seen this done over and over again. I mean, you got to give me something new here to work with, or at least do something unique, do something original with it, but no, this is just something that we've seen done over and over and done to death over and over again. It's just, I mean, what more do I need to say about this one? It looks like garbage, probably is garbage, so that's all I got to say about it. So let's go ahead and try to find the next movie that's decent, and we may have actually found one. Here's Kenneth Branagh's Henry V.
It was a time of courtiers and kings. It was the turning point for the English throne.
May I, with right and conscience, make this claim?
It was one of history's greatest adventures, led by a soldier who wouldn't retreat.
Once more into the breach, dear friends! Once more!
A lover who wouldn't give up.
Is it possible that I should love the enemy of France?
But in loving me, you should love the friend of France.
A leader who upheld justice.
For when lenity and cruelty play for a kingdom, the gentler gamester is the soonest winner.
A rebel who wouldn't give in.
What say you? Will you yield?
For Lord Constable and Princes all, and quickly bring us word of England's fall.
A king who defied the odds to prove himself a man.
This story shall the good man teach his son. From this day to the ending of the world, but we in it shall be remembered.
We few, we happy few, we band of brothers.
The Samuel Goldwyn Company presents a bold new film by Kenneth Branagh, Henry V.
So this was Kenneth Branagh's big breakout film. This was the first movie that most people knew who he was at this point. This is the movie that made him become the star that we know him now to be, because he wrote this movie, he directed it, he starred in it, he produced it, and he did a hell of a good job with it. I mean, this is a really good adaptation of William Shakespeare's Henry V, featuring a great cast which includes him, Paul Scofield, Derek Jacobi, Ian Holm, Brian Blessed, Emma Thompson, Judi Dench, Kristen Bale. I mean, this is a really solid movie, a visually pleasing looking film, and just like I said, it's the movie that launched Kenneth Branagh's name into the Hollywood street, and rightfully so, because he did such a great job with this. He also did an adaptation of Twelfth Night that came out a year before this, which was part of was it part of Masterpiece Theater? No, it was part of I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia page for it because I thought maybe it was a Masterpiece Theater presentation, but it was made by the Thames Television. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but that's what I'm getting on here. But yeah, Henry V, it was actually a really good movie. It's a really solid adaptation of the story. It's a very visually pleasing looking film. It's the first movie I've seen from this weekend that actually had something of worth to it. So that should tell you a lot. This is the fifth film we're looking at, and we just found the gem of this weekend so far. So that's all I got to say about Henry V. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is the second Toxic Avenger movie we've gotten in 1989, and that's The Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie.
First, there was the theatrical smash hit, The Toxic Avenger. Then came the second theatrical smash hit, The Toxic Avenger Part 2. And now,
people of Tromaville, The Toxic Avenger's back!
The Toxic Avenger Part 3.
The Last Temptation of Toxie.
So I just cut it off there because you pretty much know what The Toxic Avenger is going to be like at this point. But the interesting thing I heard about this movie is that this is actually a continuation of Toxic Avenger Part 2, because Toxic Avenger Part 2 was made into a 4-hour cut, and Lloyd Kaufman had to cut the film down into 2 films. And so that's why this is coming out mere months after the previous film. I mean, all I can say about this movie is that if you've seen the other Toxic Avengers movies, you pretty much get what you get here. Fun, silly, over the top. It's everything you'd expect from Troma Entertainment. I mean, this is everything you can ask for and then some. So I don't really think I have to delve into too much more in this. I mean, what am I going to do? Go deep into something like this? I mean, probably not. But like I said, you get what you get here. It's goofy. It's silly. It's a ton of fun. It's the Toxic Avenger. It's Troma Entertainment. What more could you ask for? Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is the third canon film released this weekend, and that is 10 Little Indians.
From the master of mystery comes a classic tale of terror and suspense. Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians. 10 unsuspecting strangers have accepted an invitation to murder.
I don't call that murder. I call that bloody bad luck.
10 little Indians went out to dine. One choked on himself, and there were 9.
None of us are going to leave. That is the plan.
Whoever's out there killing us one by one is laughing, and we're still here stranded. Notice.
We won't be out there long. Let's go.
You were the only one who had any bullets. Of course it's you. It isn't true.
It was murder in a way.
You had a whole day in which to, arrange things.
We're being picked off like flies. Who's next?
The devil is amongst us.
We have to stick together. He's right.
No, thank you.
Canon Films presents Donald Pleasance, Brenda Vaccaro, Frank Stallone, and Herbert Long in Agatha Christie's 10 Little Indians.
Now, even though this is the 4th adaptation of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, this is actually based off of the stage adaptation of that book, and doesn't make any mention of the novel itself. And, yeah, this is a tough one to really comment on. I've read the story before in high school. We actually read this in high school during our English class several times, but as far as the adaptation goes, I can't really decide if I really like this or not. It's not a bad movie. It's a decent adaptation, but it's not one that I instantly remember a whole lot. I remember some of it. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but it's one of those movies that really, I think, it needed something a little bit more to really become a classic movie. I mean, I don't think Canon Films was going to be good enough to make this movie turn out as good as it should have been, because Agatha Christie stories have made for some great movies. The Hercule Poirot stories, of course, Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile have made for decent movies over the last couple of years. But I kind of want to see what somebody could do with 10 Little Indians in modern times. I mean, there's been some adaptations since this, but nobody has really taken the real chances with the story. Although there have been some attempts, like Family Guy did an episode based off of the story, and then there were fewer, which turned out to be one of their best episodes. I kind of want to see what they can do with a movie version of this in a modern time. I don't know if the miniseries I was talking about actually does that, but for the most part, the cast in here is alright. You got Donald Pleasence, you got Brenda Vaccaro, Frank Stallone, Herbert Lom from the Pink Panther movies. Not much more I can say about this one here. I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either. I just think it's kind of run-of-the-mill. That's my thinking on this movie, so that's my thoughts on 10 Little Indians. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, which is one of the big Oscar winners from this year, and that is My Left Foot.
He astounded audiences in My Beautiful Laundrette, Room with a View, and The Unbearable Lightness of Being. Now, Daniel Day-Lewis gives the greatest performance of his career in a film about life, laughter, and the occasional miracle. My Left Foot. A great, exhilarating movie, says Pauline Kael in The New Yorker. A titanic triumph, says Rex Reed. Intelligent and beautifully acted, says Vincent Canby in The New York Times. And Siskel and Ebert call it enormously entertaining. Two very enthusiastic thumbs up. One of the year's finest films. Daniel Day-Lewis, My Left Foot.
So My Left Foot is the story of Christy Brown. Daniel Day-Lewis plays Christy Brown, and this is based off of Brown's story. He's a man who's born with cerebral palsy, and he can only control it with his left foot. And this movie is about the struggles that he had to go through in life. And I think they did a pretty good job with this movie. I think this is one of those movies that could have easily been an Oscar bait-ish type movie, but Daniel Day-Lewis does give a really solid performance in this. You really believe him as Christy Brown. And that's really the best thing you can say about Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, some people may think he's a little bit overrated as an actor because he's got 3 Academy Awards, and there were better performances each of those years that he was nominated. But you can't say that the guy isn't very talented. I mean, the guy is a solid actor. He's just, anytime he's on screen, I mean, he's usually giving it his all. He's one of those guys that usually picks his scripts the right way. He doesn't usually take these really bad scripts that most actors do. And this was no exception. This was a great role for him, and I think him and Brenda Fricker's performance really ups this to another level. This movie, like I said, could have easily have been another schlocky, Oscar baity type movie. But, no, it wasn't. It was actually a pretty solid movie overall. I mean, I won't say it's one of the best movies of the year. I think there were better movies that came out in '89 that got overlooked severely at the Oscars. But, yeah, for the most part, this is actually a pretty good movie. It definitely is a lot better than I think a lot of people gave it credit for. So, if you haven't seen My Left Foot, I definitely say check it out. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the last movie finally, and that is Survival Quest.
Deep in the forest.
See you guys in 4 weeks.
6 people in a wilderness survival school.
Welcome to Survival Quest. Look around you. The guy next to you just might have to save your life. In the wilderness, you're going to face many difficult moments that can only be solved by the group working together. Survival Quest is a series of challenges. No, please. I'm not ready. Now. No.
Face it, the guy's dead meat. Oh, no. Oh, come on. What happened to grape nuts? Come on. Which one? I can't get him. I got him. Come on.
Better get the hell out of here.
Survival Quest.
From Don Coscarelli, who also made the Phantasm movies, and I really have no idea what they were trying to go for here. I don't know if he was trying to make this like a Phantasm movie, but it's really hard to tell because I really don't know anything. I don't know anything about this movie except from that trailer, and that trailer did not do a very good job of telling you what you're supposed to feel of this movie. Are you supposed to expect a thriller from this? Are you expecting a horror film? Are you expecting an uplifting story here? I just don't know what they're going for here. Another movie that has a great cast to it: Lance Henriksen, Dermot Mulroney, Catherine Keener in one of her early roles. But yeah, like I said, this movie doesn't really have a good idea of what it's trying to be. Like, I don't know what they were trying to sell it as, and it definitely shows on screen here. Like, I don't know what they were going for, but whatever it was, it didn't really work all that well. And it's not to say that Don Coscarelli can't direct good movies outside of Phantasm. He made The Beastmaster, he made Bubba Hotep, he made John Dies at the End. I just don't think they had a good idea of what they were trying to go for here. I think they just saw his name and said, we need to get him to... MGM said, we need to get him to direct a movie. We don't care what it is, just let him do a movie. And then we got this, and there's a reason why nobody really talks about it, and it's honestly hard to figure out what they were trying to go for here. So, and with that said, that wraps up all 9 movies that we've looked at today. And let me tell you something, that was rough. I mean, 9 movies, and probably about only 2 of them were really great movies. The other 2 other ones were just kind of and then the rest of them were mostly forgettable schlock. I mean, like I said, it's rough. I mean, for 9, you'd expect more from 9 movies coming out, but we're past that now. So that's gonna wrap it up for this edition of Time About the Movies. Tomorrow we get to the weekend of November 17th, 1989, and let's just say the quality of movies out there gets a little bit better. I'd say a lot better. You've got High Stakes, you've got Valmont, you've got Prancer, the classic holiday movie, you've got Steel Magnolias, you've got All Dogs Go to Heaven, you've got Harlem Nights, and you've got a movie from Disney about a Little Mermaid. Could be good if you really think about it, but we'll delve more into that next time around. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the newest episode. So thank you for watching, and until the next time I see you, take care.